Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for being with us again. This is Dr. Betty, and today is March 27th, and we're here with Amanda Taylor. As you know, Amanda and I are part of the Dream Team, and we met a few weeks ago in San Diego while doing some speaking engagements and sharing the stage together. And we found that there are so many synergies between all of the four of us that actually do this together that we wanted to just bring to you our strengths and our genius so that you can actually get educated in the different areas that each of us are in and how we actually bring our value and our genius to the table to help entrepreneurs, business leaders, and individuals to lead a better life, to have a better business, to expand your business, and so forth. So, I'm going to start with a question for Amanda. And the question for you, Amanda, is you've been in business for quite a while. You've been a business advisor in so many different areas.
Mhm.
What is it that makes you unique?
I think you said it right there is so many different areas. And that is truly along the way. I have picked up so many tools from each different industry. And, to go from real estate and starting as an assistant and really being a sponge and learning everything from the contract writing to the bookkeeping to the financing of the properties to the listing to everything I could get my teeth into so that now I've done it all from the administrative work on the back end to, the listing selling of the properties. I am so comfortable in that world that I love teaching others and working through that with them because I've done every single piece of it and I have such a wide view of the process. It's not just that house, it's the whole process. And then as far as, my business development company, running through that, I'm a systems person and I see so many of the entrepreneurs, solopreneurs that I work with, they are so passionate about what they do, whether it's their product or their service. And then they get stuck with having to wear all of the hats. And I really work closely with them on moving from, are you self-employed or are you a business owner? And let's work on that mind shift because you know what? I had to do it too. And that's another tool in the toolkit is I've been there, I've done it, and I had to switch my mindset and learn how to run a business and not just do tasks every day. And you talk about the individual, I got divorced and I was self-employed and I didn't have a retirement plan. He did. So now it's become my mission with all of my experience in these other areas. How do I help other women, other entrepreneurs who are over here growing their business really take that and move it over into their personal investments, growing and protecting their wealth outside of their business so that they can be empowered in every part of their life, business and personal. And that is the journey that I have been through, every single step of it. And that is why I love giving back that way and walking through that with my clients.
I love that. So what and I'm taking notes as you're talking, and I'm sure the audience is doing the same thing. And so what I heard you say is you have your business development company, you also have a real estate company, and then you also have, in terms of business development, the generational transfer piece is how do you create that generational transfer in the business, and then the business growth. Of course,
Right.
business development is business growth.
Mhm.
In terms of your avatar and your best company to deal with. When I talk about avatar, it's kind of a marketing term. And
Yeah.
so what is your model client that you do the best for? Who is your avatar?
Right now, for me, where I'm at working with women entrepreneurs, I'm looking at women business owners who are 40 to 65 years old, who are six figures plus six figures because I'm working with those smaller businesses to really help them drive that revenue
Yes.
and get out. Once you get past that, it's so much easier to grow and scale from there. So if we start there, we build that up and then move on to that investing outside of the business, that is my sweet spot. Those are the people that I really want to work with, help them grow the business and the wealth at the same time.
Okay, beautiful. So, ladies, anybody that is 40 to 65, that seems to be the sweet spot when women are either leaving the workforce and figuring out, okay, how do I start a new business? I've been working for so long, for so many years, and now it's time for me to just really figure out, okay, what's next for me? And going into business for yourself seems to be what the women business owners is the fastest growth segment of business in America, in the United States. And so it has been for over a decade that I know of. And so this is the time, and this is your time. And if you are growing your business, then this is the person to go to. So it would be, so Amanda, how do people get a hold of you?
The best way is on my website is expandyourempire.org. And I love that name because I think that it truly, it's everything. It's your business, it's your life, it's your personality. Like we're going to expand and not step back. You said it so beautifully in our first episode that we got to sit down together about undervaluing yourself and not charging for your value, but that goes across the board in everything that you do, speaking up for yourself in your personal life and in your business and all the things. So expandyourempire.org, that's where everything is. And I am very active on LinkedIn. So you can find me at Amanda Taylor on LinkedIn. So that's where I'm at. And I tell people I'm running my mouth every day trying to get people to pay attention because you're absolutely right. And it was my own, midlife thing. I was self-employed, but the average entrepreneur comes into entrepreneurship around 42. And women, like you said, especially going through midlife, what happens within our brain and in our bodies, something comes out of us that is reborn. And we are so ready to develop something that is our own and come into our power. And so I want to step in and support that with as many women as I can.
Completely agree. And thank you so much, Amanda. I love the work that you do. I love the woman you are. And as I have gotten to get to know you, I've really experienced you as being a value-centered leader and a value-centered entrepreneur who is really there to give your very best to your clients and to your peer group, because you've done that with our Dream Team group as well. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and kind of answer the same kind of questions. And you're welcome to ask any questions so that the audience can get the most out of this. So what makes me unique, I think, is, and it's interesting. I'm over at Genius Network, and which. Uh, and we're finishing a 2-day meeting here, and we always think really deep into our companies and what it is that we do. And I feel that what makes me unique is my ability to think through very quickly a lot of different data points when I talk to a business owner or when I talk to an individual. So my focus is to realize a incredible paradigm shift in people's business and life. I wrote this book called #Values, The Secret to Top Level Performance in Life. And I interviewed CEOs in business and finance and generals from the White House and the Pentagon. And what I learned from that is everything that I have been doing in my own life, in my business and in my life, is what has gotten these people to be top performers. And it's really what has gotten me to be where I am in my life. So what makes me unique? I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur in biomedical engineering and manufacturing. in high-end furniture product manufacturing, in automotive repair, in real estate, and in transportation in 5 different segments. In addition to that, and at the same time, I have also been a intrapreneur, and I call an intrapreneur because I have brought my entrepreneurial mindset to corporate in organizations that are very small startup all the way up to 358 billion in assets. And so the other piece is I have figured out a way to live a life well lived. I've retired a couple of times. Today, I choose the clients that I want to work with. I work with whom I want, where I want, when I want, and it's really my desire to work with very high level individuals at very high level places where they have an opportunity to affect change in a lot of people, in multitudes of people, and they have a desire to work really hard to get to the place where when you think about at the end of your career, what is it that you're going to toast to? What are you going to celebrate? That was an exercise that we did in my doctoral program over a decade ago. And I'm living that right now. Everything that I wrote down, I'm living it. And so what we do is we anchor you on where you are toasting. What is it that you're going to toast to at the end of your career? Or what is next for you? Whether you're the CEO of a small, medium, or large company, or a prime minister, or a part of parliament. I've had people from the White House, from the Pentagon. I've had people from that are entrepreneurs starting their entrepreneur journey from corporate. And what is next for you? And we figure out what your genius is. We figure out what your values are. We figure out every part of your life where you are today, and then we figure out, okay, where do you want to be? And we back engineer the way and the path to get you there a lot sooner than what you think. I am not 80 years old, and a decade ago I wrote down my 80th birthday toast, and I could do the toast right now. And if you look at me, I'm very far from being 80 years old. So I think what makes me unique is I can actually take a look at and connect the dots. I can get you to dream bigger than you thought possible. And if you are not able to dream big, I take you on a tour with me, on a trip with me to some of the meetings and some of the things that I get exposed to, so that you can actually experience what it's like to be in a bigger scene, in a bigger scenery, in a bigger platform, so that then you can dream really big for yourself. And then we do the process for you. That's what makes me unique.
And it's so true. I've met you in person once, but we've talked a lot on YouTube, and I've started your book. I'm not finished yet, but you are so intuitive to the person that the business is over here, but you are focused on the person and who they are. And that is very obvious. And, just like I was talking about last time we met about starting with your exit strategy in mind, start with the end in mind. It's exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
That is a huge way. And I love what you're talking about, it taking them into that room, because it does take some of that intimidation away if you can experience it and picture yourself there. I know for me, I am that person. I'm very logical and analytical, and so it's hard to imagine those things. But that's wonderful that you bring people into that world in the physical and not just imagine that you're on a beach and So I love
No, not
that.
at all. Not at all. And, a lot of people come to me. For example, I had someone come to me saying, I really want to expand my business and I don't know how to do that. And this was a doctor who had very many locations with one hub location where they did all of the operations and all of that. And so they had the diagnostic clinics, and then the hub was where they had the operation piece. And in one phone call, I said, okay, tell me where you want to go, and we'll just do this very quickly right now. Just a quick diagnostic. And it was interesting that I could see, okay, wait a minute, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And he's like, I hadn't thought about that. And I said, well, what about your banker? Who do you bank with? And tell me about your banker. What are they doing for you? And being in banking for so many years and being an entrepreneur for so many years, I can maneuver through both. And he said, well, I've been sending them my financials every year, but they never told me any about this. I said, well, they should have been able to notice this and this and this about your financials. And as a result, this individual, this doctor, went to a different bank. I kind of advised them what kind of a banker they needed to be with that would actually know the industry and really understand and be able to put themselves in his shoes. And then I began to walk him through how he can begin to expand his business. And then I got him to think a lot bigger. He was only thinking about this particular micro market. And I said, have you thought about going global? He's like, what? No, I haven't thought about going global. I said, oh, it's really simple. This is how I would take you global if that's something that you choose to do. And these are the channels, and this is the technology, and these are the people that I would introduce you to. For me, it's very simple because I've been exposed to so much. So for me to just bring all of that to the table, it was really simple. But I started with him first. And you're right. I always start with what are your core values? What's most important to you? We don't even have to test you on your core values. Just by having a conversation, you'll tell me what your values are.
Right.
And so starting with the end in mind is so important. And this is one of the things that you bring to the table is what is your end result and how are you going to, like you said, the generational from an entrepreneur. Okay, what is going to happen with your next generation? Have you
Mhm.
thought? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I'm very passionate about that with my father having passed away and us having inherited his business. And I know the work that we went through. How do you approach that?
It's interesting, my generation, I'm Gen X, and statistically, we are the least prepared that any other generation has been for retirement. They've not been saving at all. It's dire. And we are also, we're going to have our parents are going to be living longer, taking care of them. There's so much going into this that for me, it's terrifying for one. So, we have that pressure. And then my parents never talked about this growing up. You inherited so much from your parents, your values for one, and you're very vocal about that, and that's amazing. My parents didn't have a business to leave to me. They did set themselves up for retirement, and that's great. And it took the passing of my grandparents for them to understand
Mm,
everything that comes after. And so they're, setting up for generation, you don't understand what it's like until you've been there and the aftermath of that. And if you've got family, and I'm talking generational wealth because it is possible. You are not limited by what you do here now. You can set things up here now that will
yes.
exponentially grow and pay generation after generation after generation. When I learned that, I was like, why is this a secret? Why aren't they screaming this from the rooftops?
Yes, exactly.
And so that was the thing for me is nobody's talking about this.
No.
And we're taught, at least my generation was taught, go to work for somebody, contribute to your 401k. And that was the end of the conversation. And we're seeing now that that is not enough. And so it's time to step up and educate and empower ourselves to do something different. And it doesn't have to be about survival. We don't have to just survive.
No,
We have
not at all.
so much opportunity. And
Yes.
that's just the word I want to spread.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. So as I mentioned earlier, this concludes our time together. But before I leave, I want to give you a little excerpt on the individuals that take part of this dream team. And so Kelly Gushu is a financial advisor for entrepreneurs, helping them maximize their wealth potential. So Kelly will talk to you and we'll come back next week. And so we'll be talking about um, what is it that you can do in your business to really invest the money that you have earned. A lot of entrepreneurs have their money in their checking account and they're thinking that they're going to be needing the money and so forth. And yeah, they are, but there are investments that you can put your money in so that the money that is sitting in your operating account can actually work for you. Then we have Ambro Blackwell, and Ambro is a finance and investment specialist with a focus on sustainable growth. So he just focuses on sustainable growth. Where Ambro and Kelly separate is Kelly is a certified financial planner, and she also has some licenses for investments. She's like a private banker, if you will, an investment banker, whereas Ambro is really focusing on the actual business. And then we have also Elizabeth Fuchs, and Elizabeth Fuchs specializes in import export in businesses. So she will walk you through what are the risk factors? And she's really a fantastic strategist. She will sit with the business owner, and I've seen this happen with actual live businesses where she will sit with the business owner, ask a lot of interesting questions about your import export. She used to manage a global business for import export. And what she does is she strategizes around the risk factors. How do you mitigate risk? How is it that you're able to do a letter of credit, an international letter of credit? And how do you save yourself from a lot of the risk factors ahead of time? Almost like what we do here with Amanda, with the thinking of the end, starting with the end in mind. And so she does the same thing. And then of course Amanda and myself. So that is the dream team as of today. And so thank you so much for being with us. Happy March and happy, what is it? The spring now, right?
I'm ready. Yes.
I know. So happy spring, everybody. And we will see you again next week. Bye, everyone.
Thanks to Dr. Betty.
Absolutely.